In defense, speed is not an option.
The ability to move faster, see more clearly, and act with confidence will determine mission outcomes. That means that agencies have to put to work cloud, data, automation, and AI without compromising on sovereignty, security, and control.
And that's exactly the focus here in Brussels at the Oracle Defense Tech Summit, where defense leaders, Oracle customers, partners, and technology innovators are all coming together.
I'm Fritz Nelson.
And I'm Shanna Adamic, and we'll be your guides through today's conversations on Oracle TV. We'll hear about what's next for defense innovation, everything from AI to mission data to secure cloud infrastructure, sovereign capabilities, and operational readiness.
We'll be talking about putting these capabilities to work, turning strategy into deployment, data into decision advantage, and innovation into mission impact.
The stakes are high.
And the cost of waiting is rising.
And the future belongs to those who can innovate together. So let's get started.
The reality is the world today is alive with threats.
The battle space has changed. Victory now hinges on data, connectivity, and innovation.
We need an intelligent mesh capability all the way to the edge. And innovators need to be able to integrate into that in a matter of days, not months or years.
The ability to securely collect, process, and act on information, to stay connected in all conditions, to bring the most innovative ideas to the mission fast. That's what decides outcomes. Who can you trust to deliver mission-grade innovation that's integrated, adaptive, and always one step ahead?
We were founded out of a classified program over 47 years ago, and we've built all of our technologies with that history and that pedigree in mind.
Oracle is trusted with the world's most sensitive data and delivers operational insights and decision advantage with our data and next-gen cloud platforms. The Oracle Defense ecosystem is engineered to help defense, military, and national security organizations optimize operations, enhance decision-making, and improve mission outcomes while meeting the highest standards of security and compliance and bringing the most innovative partners to the table.
We're going to do it as an ecosystem, as a collection of companies working with the government, working with our intelligence and defense customers. That's the only way we are going to innovate fast enough. There is no monopoly on innovation.
It's going to be really, really important for us to be able to use machines to fight. No blood for first contact.
Be cloud ready and cloud first.
Oracle has values, and we will put the world's best technology in the hands of the people that defend those values. That's it.
Our mission at Oracle is making sure that you never have to compromise, that you always have the best.
With Oracle, the warfighter never has to compromise. This is how we win.
Welcome back to Oracle TV. I am here with our first guest, Paul Jenkinson. He is the CEO and co-founder of Whitespace. Thanks for joining us today.
Thanks, Fritz. Lovely to be here.
All right, well, let's start with the work that you're leading behind building sovereign AI for defense and national intelligence. Can you talk a little bit more about what Whitespace is doing?
Our core focus is around decision superiority. So how can we help people on the front line make faster and smarter decisions, both at the tactical side, so things like in the digital targeting web, all the way up to the strategic. So balance of investment and procurement decisions, because the decisions you make at the strategic end determine how you're going to fight in 2 years' time. So they are very much joined up. So yeah, we're bringing AI into that process and how we fuse that with the armed forces and the people on the ground.
Can you talk about some of the challenges in that space that you're trying to solve, some of the specific challenges?
Oh, and it's really easy. There's no challenge. No. There's lots.
And it never changes.
No. So there's challenges always around data, but our approach is decision-centric. So it's data comes and goes. There's subject to misinformation, disinformation. So data's, it's something, if we can have it, great, but ultimately we still have to make a decision. But I think the real challenge is around cultural change. It's really understanding how AI can not just speed up what you were doing before, but fundamentally change how you operate. And I think there is a lot of education that we still have to do in terms of what the possibilities are and what change can be done at the speed, the speed that we can move at as well. So I think there are a lot of challenges, but I think it's really exciting. I think it's moving faster. I think there's a huge willingness to adapt and change. So yeah, no, it's really exciting times actually.
We hear a lot about going from experimentation and into real implementation. If you had to give us a grade on where we are today on that spectrum, especially in defense and intelligence, where are we?
Getting better. I mean, I think if when we talk to CTOs across defense, one of the challenges that I always say to them is map out how long it would take you currently to take advantage of some amazing technology, say from a new SME that's just come up, built some amazing technology. How long will it take to get that in the hands of the warfighter? And when they map that out, it can be 2 years. If you're doing well, it's 12 months. But the problem with that means you're always fighting with last year's equipment. So I think by mapping out what needs changing, we can start to massively cut that down. Because ideally, if there's amazing technology this morning, we should better use it this afternoon. And so there is massive change, and it is accelerating, and we are cutting time in half constantly. So it is a massive improvement, but there's still a long way to go.
When you see organizations doing it successfully in defense, how are they combining AI, cloud infrastructure, data to really move these workflows across the battle space?
I mean, I think from a software point of view, you've got to be able to build in a way that you can take advantage of the hyperscalers like Oracle, so that you can deploy onto OCI and across roving edge devices seamlessly. So I think as software developers, we have to make sure we're building in the right way, and it's not building in a traditional web application way. It is different. So I think that's the onus on us, but also the onus is on us to sit with the end user and really understand the problems that we're trying to solve, but also question them. Because I think AI is not just about doing what we did before faster. It is about we're looking at first principles and going, okay, so why did you do that? Oh, well, we've always done it that way. Okay, well, is that actually really helping you achieve your outcome? So we sometimes play that kind of agent provocateur, and sometimes it's an agony uncle, like, oh my God, I need this now. But I think the culture's changing, and I think SMEs in the ecosystem and companies like Oracle are also playing a part in how we interact with defense, because it is it's multiple relationships happening at the same time for it to really work.
Let's talk about that. You're part of the Oracle defense ecosystem from last year.
Yes.
This same show. What makes Oracle the right hyperscaler as a partner for the work Whitespace is doing?
I mean, I think there's a few things. I mean, one, your cloud infrastructure is the same as in the air-gapped environment. So this rapid speed from one environment to another. But I think it's also, you move extremely fast. You're a large organization. I mean, you don't move as fast as us, but but you move extremely fast, and very mission driven, and that's really important. So when we had an opportunity to put our AI onto the Prince of Wales aircraft carrier for a deployment, and there was a very, very short period of time, we reached out to Oracle, you dropped everything, and we deployed our technology onto a roving edge device, onto the aircraft carrier in incredible speed. And I think that showed to us that Oracle's a fantastic partner to deal with. Yeah.
So you're showcasing Project Conexus.
Yes.
At this event. Tell us about this demonstration.
Yeah, sure. So this was born out of our work as part of Project Asgard, which is the UK Army's digital targeting web. So this is where you sense, decide, act, and analyze to find targets and hit them. We're very much focused on the decide and the analyze, the learning side. And we saw, as part of that, an opportunity to bring the Oracle defense ecosystem together to build it end to end. So we reached out to yourselves, And we said, look, we think with the other members in the ecosystem, we could pull together a full demonstrator. This was about 6 weeks ago. So we're working with Quantum Sisters, Mattermost, Arkit, Esri Janes, brought those all together. We built our capability, and it's now live at the show.
Wow, the Oracle defense ecosystem at work, right?
Absolutely,
here.
absolutely.
Awesome, great. Thank you so much for joining us, Paul.
No problem. Thanks, Fritz.
All right, we'll be right back here with a message from Kim Lynch, Oracle Executive Vice President of Government, Defense, and Intelligence.
So we're in a time of exponential change right now with the rapid pace of technology advancements. Defense leaders around the world and our allies in the United States are particularly being challenged to keep pace with the rapid adoption of technology that we're seeing in the commercial sector. So one of the most important things we can do to stay ahead of our adversaries and keep our competitive edge is to actually learn from commercial best practices and how commercial alignments on areas like banking, which has some of the same security requirements, as well as large transaction processing and using data in new ways. For defense leaders, they are starting to move faster, operate at scale, and take their data to the edge. Because what has happened in the past is when we're processing data and managing data on-prem, we're not getting all of the artificial intelligence embedded and the operational insights that you get from being able to process your data in the field. Defense activities don't happen in an office, they don't happen in a data center, they happen at the edge in the field. And taking your data and being able to process it in the speed that the commercial examples are is something that is really important for our defense leaders to be doing today.
Well, welcome back to Oracle TV. It is a pleasure to be sitting next to our next guest, Jason Reese, Senior Vice President at Oracle. Now, Jason kicked off today's Defense Tech Summit, opening with one of the most important issues that is facing defense organizations, and that's sovereign control in the Western technology stack. Jason, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Well, let's start there. Sovereign control. Why is it so important, especially right now?
Well, it was very, very interesting. We actually started the day with this as a key topic. And I think it's because everybody's talking about sovereignty. Firstly, it's sometimes hard to define exactly what it means.
Right.
But throughout the conversation, it really was this concept of having control of your destiny, being able to get access to innovative technology, but do it in a way that you could still be fast-paced, fast-moving. And one of the things that came up in the panel was this idea of sovereignty being the same as being resilient. You've got to be able to actually be resilient as well as sovereign.
And so it's control. So when we think about speed and control, which you just touched on, customers don't want to have to choose between those. They need both. So what's actually changing to help customers innovate more quickly while preserving the sovereignty their missions require?
Well, the way that Oracle has always approached this is part of our distributed cloud strategy. The ability for us to provide sovereign regions exactly the same as our commercial regions, or in fact, the same services that we provide in our isolated regions. The fact we can offer the choice means that our customers don't have to compromise on the actual innovation.
They can do both.
They could do absolutely both. So they can get those sovereign control. So within the EU, for example, we've had the EU sovereign cloud for the last 3 years. That's a cloud, same cloud as in our commercial regions, but it's operated by EU citizens. So that's another example of giving sovereign back without reducing the innovation.
So I think it's pretty amazing that you've brought together all of these voices, NATO, Oracle, the vast defense ecosystem.
Yeah.
And so, why is it so important to have those voices at the table?
Well, I thought we started with Colonel Stoiker, and what I thought he was brilliant at was explaining the current situation with NATO. So it is moving slowly at a NATO level, but individual countries can't wait. We talked about Ukraine. We talked about the need for them to change things within 4 days to be able to actually be innovative. Then David Kelly talked from Reply, talked about the defense ecosystem, how they're making use of Oracle as a hyperscaler, but also putting their own spin, their own understanding of defense. And of course, then we had Matt Leonard, who is in charge of our isolated region product development. And again, Matt explained how we can start small, 3 racks, and then actually grow as well. So I think all 3 of them, the state of NATO, state of the world we live in, talking about different partner ecosystems in defense, and then again, talking about the current capabilities that we can offer to, again, show that innovation that everybody's demanding.
bringing these voices together. I mean, that's the only way we're going to be able to address
it's absolutely, it's a partnership. And I think that's come out through all the sessions. It's not a and or, it's an and. And I think partnership's super important. Oracle, I'm very proud that we work with partners. You know, I know it's not for defense, but when we talk about multi-cloud, I'm super proud that we work with the other hyperscalers. Yeah, we compete sometimes, but we work together. And I think partnership for our clients, for our customers is so important.
Yeah, the only way is together. And when you look ahead, what's the differentiator that you would encourage defense leaders ask of their technology stack?
Yeah, I think if you look at the innovation Oracle is moving at, probably in private sector as well as defense, I think they can learn from some of the innovations we're bringing. So obviously everybody's talking about AI.
Right.
So let's make use of AI. Again, one of the things that I thought came out loud and clear is it's actually not that we don't have these technologies and these solutions available today. It's actually how quickly defense customers, national customers can actually onboard that into their environment. So I would suggest that our customers trust a partner as Oracle and a wider ecosystem, really to actually identify those use cases, those problems, those challenges that we can really have solutions for today. This is not future stuff. As someone said to me yesterday, it has to be yesterday.
Speed, control, and trust. Well, thank you so much, Jason, for spending time talking with us a little bit more about sovereign control in the Western technology stack. We appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us, and we'll be back for more conversations right here on Oracle TV.
So startups have become really critical to Europe's sovereignty and security for a couple of reasons. The main one, obviously, is that the war in Ukraine has rewritten all of the rules of the battlefield. And startups and scale-ups are actually driving the way that the war is being propagated now. I mean, we see it, it's decentralized, but the use of technology, not just drones, but AI at the edge and a whole lot of other types of technology have really redefined warfare and are giving lessons for everybody all across the Western Alliance. And so all across the other countries of Europe and the entire Western Alliance, there's a reaction going on in which we're realizing that the startups that are in Germany, France, the UK, every place have an incredible role to play in getting our militaries ready for this new type of warfare. Now, what do we need to do to make this go faster and connect them to the militaries? Well, the main thing we need to do is the work that my foundation is doing, or the Innovate Europe Foundation. We're building bridges. The connective tissue is actually a key secret of the Ukrainian ecosystem because it's so decentralized, 1,200-kilometer line of warfare. You have decentralized brigades. Somebody has to take that knowledge and be the connective tissue between capital, between the startups, between the militaries who are ready to test things in the field. And so we want to bring that spirit to the rest of the Western Alliance. We're working to connect militaries and the startups because they don't speak the same language. The militaries need to learn to make their procurement systems much more something that a startup can interact with, and the startups have to learn to sell to giant customers who have really long procurement processes. And so we're trying to reform from within and build this bridge and be that connective tissue between those two worlds.
Well, welcome back to Oracle TV here in Brussels at the Oracle Defense Tech Summit. And I am thrilled to be sitting next to our next guest, Andrew Rowan, CEO of Defense Holdings. Andrew, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks so much for having me, Shanna.
Now, I know that an announcement was just made, a new partnership with Defense Holdings, Oracle, and we're going to get to that in just a moment. But let's start with Defense Holdings. Tell us about who you are and the work you're leading and inside the defense ecosystem.
Great. Well, thanks for the opportunity to join Oracle TV. So Defense Holdings is a London-based listed defense tech startup, if that's not too much of an anomaly. So Defense Holdings is really focused on two things. So how can we be an investor in novel technology that solves the customer problem? And when we spot gaps where novel technology is not available, can we build the product ourselves? So we're standing on both sides of the fence, both investor and product builder.
So you look at those gaps and see where can you build it yourself. So this gets me to the actual partnership that has been announced for Oracle to support Defense Holdings' new accelerator program. So what problem are you trying to solve with that?
In our areas of interest in the defense sector, the national security sector, the customer problem is paramount. Being close to that customer, intimate with their challenges, understanding how they currently solve the problem and how they might solve it in the future. Now, the accelerator program, which is called Meridian, which we're so delighted to have Oracle as a partner to, is all about bringing in a cohort of companies, some of which will come from the Oracle Defense ecosystem, and getting them as close to that customer problem as we possibly can. And then we start to think about how can we build enduring partnerships, how we can reduce barriers to entry, how can we get access to capital working for that ecosystem then to thrive and the customer to see the benefit from it.
So then the effort is to accelerate deployment readiness and customer engagement. But with that in mind, what are some of the biggest problems that you see that prevent promising technologies from ever getting into real operational environments?
Defense for a long time has been seen as quite an inaccessible sector, dominated by very large organizations. And I think that's a challenge we take on with a lot of pride and a lot of intent. Now, big problems that we can see certainly in the European marketplace is, access to capital, access to customers, security clearances and vetting processes, procurement frameworks making it difficult, the authority to operate within space, within the environments that we sell into, and then particularly the technology build and how are we building something the customer will trust in the end.
And trust is big. And it's huge. And so what made Oracle Cloud right for Defense Holdings?
The thing I'm really impressed with working with Oracle is it feels like a real partnership. It feels like a ecosystem community, if that's not too trite a description, but in its truest sense. So it's not about a big company dominating a set of suppliers. It's about an ecosystem that drives mutual gain. It supports each other. It drives advantage for one actor and another actor in the ecosystem, but with no rhyme or reason as to who is in that hierarchy. And I'm really impressed with Oracle supporting its companies in their go-to-market efforts, in their technology strategies, in their ways of working, their culture, and how they're going to solve those customer problems. It feels like a nice partnership, between organizations that will succeed.
And it really is about accelerating this next generation of defense innovation. And so when from your perspective, when you look out at all the emerging technologies, what are you most excited about?
Excited and scared, and that's really driving me some personal motivation. So, for me, the world we're living in now is a more dangerous one than I've ever experienced. Conflict is near and conflict is real. And as a result of that, I think as a community, I think we need to act with pace, with determination, with vigor that solves customer problems as quickly as we can. Now, there are 4 particular areas of interest that we're razor focused on. So the first one is agentic AI for defense operations. So how can we drive decision superiority? The second area is autonomous defense systems. So how can we, both with human in the loop and human out of the loop, get things working quicker in a more organized fashion that will defeat the adversary? The third area of interest is how can we protect critical national infrastructure, which we think is a increasingly emerging attack surface for the adversary. And then the fourth area of interest is cognitive warfare or information operations. So how can we start to think about when we're defending and using those tools to our advantage?
Well, thank you for that. And, you have some big work ahead, and we appreciate the work that you're doing, the work that you're leading in the defense ecosystem. And thank you so much for spending time with us.
Thank you, Shanna.
We'll be back here on Oracle TV.
In terms of warfighter readiness, military forces, despite advances in technology, tell us that people remain their principal capability. So in terms of what that means, they require more people, keeping them more ready, bringing to the battlefield more ready, and getting them to perform better more of the time so the force can go further, faster, and achieve. In terms of how we achieve that using technology, we need to do 3 principal things. 1, to bring data, collect data collection methods more efficient, so commanders can make more informed decisions and direct resources accordingly. 2, we need to make specialists, coaches, clinicians more impactful, giving them management systems to make them more efficient, data on human condition and connectivity with the force. And thirdly, we need to make sure that the force, the individual warfighter, is more empowered with personalized and individualized support and health influence. If you do those 3 things, you can adopt a proactive stance, a proactive approach to managing warfighter health, and you can do that throughout the service lifecycle, from the day they apply in the recruiting and training environment, through to in-service on constant operational cycles, and into the reservist space where they may need to be remobilized at some time in the future.
Welcome back to Oracle TV. I am joined here by Bram Cowbergs. He is the Vice President of Defense for Oracle EMEA. Welcome. You know, we're here in Belgium. It's really hot outside. You're from here, so I'm asking you to explain, why is it so hot?
Well, first of all, it's because of the good vibes and the dynamics in the room, I think.
Hot in a good way.
Hot in a good way. And second, temperature is really high. It's exceptional for Belgium this time of the year.
Okay, well, you know, I got a little sunshine yesterday. That's okay. Well, we want to talk about data. You had a panel today on data-centric warfare. And I feel like, you know, using data in the battle space has always been a thing. What's changed in today's defense arena that makes a data-centric warfare, you know, something new, something fresh, something vital?
Well, that's an excellent question, and the question is extremely relevant and accurate today, because if we speak about warfare about 5 years ago, even to before 2020, we were fighting and operating in a whole different system. We were fighting slow. That means we had time to make decisions. We had 24, 72 hours to analyze targets, to collect all the data, to make sure that we have the right weapon systems, whatever needed to reach operational effects. So we had time. The second big change is that before 2020, we were mostly fighting or in operations against insurgents, and now we are in peer-to-peer conflicts with adversaries who are really high-tech, sometimes even superior to what we do. So as a consequence, for example, well before the air and the space domain was uncontested, our F-6 teams were masters of the air. That completely changed. And now with drones, with adversaries, that's not a fact anymore. And also our command and control systems are not invulnerable anymore like before 2020. So we are facing now a lot of complexity, which is quite recent and new, which we see from Ukraine, which we see in Iran, which we see all over the world in conflicts. And the biggest change and the biggest reason for that change is really the importance of data. So while data was there, like you correctly says already, like for many, many decades, which was used as a source of information for what we do, from logistical supply to operational effects. Due to the fact that we have now so many sensors, F-35 is a good example, but also frigates, a ship, a submarine, it is a floating data center. Well, the fact that these are generating so much data, we need to be able to act on that data, to analyze it, to come up with the right insights. And that is what changed so fast over the last 5 years. And more we see it now in operations in the Middle East mainly, where the party who can process this data the fastest, in an accurate way, in a secure way, is the party who has the upper hand on the adversary.
Yeah, I stepped into one of the sessions just a little bit ago, and Palantir's Fiona Bradley was talking about how the tools we have are so exquisite now. That was the word she used. We have sensors everywhere. Now the challenge is sense making.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So a tool is one thing. You can have a great dashboard. You can have great AI coming to insights, but it's actually the underlying problem is more deep. So you can have brilliant drones, but the drone is useless if it cannot connect and bring the right data to the right decision maker. So working with Palantir is really a pleasure for us because they bring strong analytical tools, they bring the right data in the hands of the warfighter. But Oracle also has an extremely important position because we offer that space, that infrastructure, allowing data to come together, to be analyzed, to be synthesized, to bring these actionable operational insights with tools as the one of Palantir.
One of the other challenges is moving from more of a platform-centric approach to a data-centric approach is that the data exists, you know, in legacy systems. It exists in the modern platforms, but you also have coalition data. What are some of the biggest challenges in connecting all of that?
Well, I think you hit the nail. That is the big problem that we currently face. So all these new systems are generating data, but defense is also working on a lot of legacy systems, old systems, and the data is still often siloed in different places. So When we speak about modernization, we speak about bringing these data to the cloud to make sure that it's accessible in a safe and secure way by everyone, by all the tools that is needed. But that's not easy because it has an impact on the processes, on the acquisition procedures, for example. When we speak now with our partners in defense, with military organizations, their requirements for these data systems are often defined like 10, 15 years ago, when we were not thinking already about AI, about modern technologies, about the volume of data that we need to host. So where we constantly need to focus on is to discuss with our partners, we are living in a different reality. The biggest problem that we currently face is matching the speed of innovation with the speed of acquisition and the requirements.
So talk a little bit about how Oracle is making a difference in solving these challenges.
We solve challenges in many different ways. So first of all, we bring a full suite of solutions from infrastructure to applications to Fusion, which is for human capital or ERP or our solutions. We can focus on supply chain management. So we bring the applications. We have a lot of different deployment models with cloud, from the hyperscale cloud to the isolated cloud on the other end and everything in between, which means that with our infrastructure, we can match the requirements, sovereignty, security, speed that the customer needs for his operations. So we bring the application side, we bring the infrastructure side, but we bring also much more. Oracle always has been a data company. Data is our blood, data is what we do, and data is now the most critical asset in defense. So we bring these data platforms on top of the infrastructure, and we bring now the AI as part of the applications as well as the infrastructure layer as of the data platform. Not just that, I may be too enthusiastic about it, but defense is an industry of industries. So we're discussing now military operations. It's the combat situation that we discuss. Defense is an industry, it's an enterprise. Defense also needs healthcare. Defense needs manufacturing. Defense needs financial, supply chain, and all these solutions as well, because that's critical for military success. And also there, Oracle brings really top-notch solutions for manufacturing or for capability management, supply chain, financial systems. So we can offer the full suite of what is needed to bring defense organizations to the 21st century and ready for the future.
If you look out a year from now, what will separate the most successful defense organizations from everyone else from a data-centric standpoint?
A year is long in defense, and is
and in AI as well.
And at the same time, is extremely short, because a year ago we couldn't imagine the situation that we were confronting with today. We need to bring it all together, and it's not just Oracle. We are excellently placed because we bring all of that, but also with our partners, with our system integrators like Deloitte, who is sponsoring us here, to make sure that our decision makers understand what is the focus and importance. The Minister of Defense was very clear about the importance of data. Palantir brought it also. So the most successful organization is going to be the organization who can bring it all together in an operational system in a secure and sovereign way. And that's going to be of the utmost importance.
All right, well, we'll be right there playing the game along with everybody else. So
absolutely, and
it's going to be an interesting to fast forward a year and look back and see what we accomplished.
I'll be more than happy to see you again in a year. The team is ready for it. We are ready for it. So thank you.
Okay, thank you, Bram. All right, we will be right back after this.
We built our interactive agent on Oracle infrastructure using Oracle Label Security, so users get clear, auditable answers while ensuring they only see information allowed by their access controls.
Whether you're doing a back-office data transformation, LLM operations on large data, or, like my client, managing a large fleet of warfighting aircraft, Oracle AI helps you interact with and manage your data using natural language to improve business effectiveness and mission operations.
Our solution, called Saga, was built and deployed on OCI Core and OCI Roving Edge device. It captures, manages, and exploits defense lessons, both at the center and at the very edge.
At Legion, we deliver mission outcomes and operational tempo on OCI.
We built agentic AI on OCI that turns field-generated media into actionable intelligence for faster operational decisions.
We build scalable, multimodal AI systems on OCI to deliver secure real-time intelligence for mission-critical environments.
Well, welcome back to Oracle TV. It's a pleasure to be sitting next to my next guest, Adam Brown, Chief Operating Officer of Quori. Adam, thank you so much for being here and for being part of the Oracle defense ecosystem.
Well, it's an honor, so I appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, let's start with Quori, the work that you're leading, across defense, the problems you're solving. Can you share more with us?
Yeah, absolutely. So Quori is an operational intelligence system. What we're doing is empowering our global defense organizations with immediate AI data-driven insights and therefore decision advantage. The problem we're solving is, in this day and age, a lot of threats, state actors make very unpredictable non-obvious moves. And what Quori does is essentially bring that fragmented information and data together to make predictions of high risk 24 hours, 72 hours, depending on the problem set in advance. So with regards to that, a commander can therefore make an immediate decision, very quick and easy to use, very fast to deploy Quori. It doesn't require a lot, so you don't need to reinvent your capabilities because a lot of organizations, including military organizations, have a lot of sensors. Where all those sensors are is sort of dependent in terms of can you utilize them to best effect. And really what Quori does is cut through that fog to give that decision advantage immediately. So at the touch of a button, we can tell you where your problem is going to be, your highest risk area tomorrow. So you're intelligence-led and proactive in your decision-making rather than reactive.
So predicting the risk and, seeing the risk early and being able to act quickly has been part of the defense mission since the beginning of warfare. And so, but what makes that challenge even harder at this moment today?
Yeah, no, you're absolutely correct. And I think Steve Rigby touched on it earlier in terms of since the beginning of time, commanders have needed to make faster decisions than the adversary, because at the end of the day, if you can do that, you're on the path to success. Now, unpredictability in terms of deception or capabilities like that an enemy might use are all part of that process and that factor. So Quori, with its machine learning aspect, can make sense of those problems, and it's constantly adapting and evolving because an adversary doesn't stand still. It is constantly changing in terms of their motions and their unpredictability. So for us, being end users ourselves, former military and intelligence, a lot of the company are, this is a capability that we would have wanted in our hands when we were doing our operations 10, 15, 20 years ago when we were serving. We see a lot of grey state acting now in terms of what we're doing with our maritime capability, for instance, is vessels that don't want you to know where they're going are quite obviously going dark. They're putting in spoofing maneuvers. But it's about what little crumbs of information and intelligence they leave behind that our capability can then pick up and obviously make sense of to give a commander that immediate advantage. In terms of this is where the problem is going to be tomorrow. With UK MOD, we're working on critical national infrastructure on land. We do some border security work across Africa and some European countries. And again, these are large areas where you're essentially with a sensor looking through a straw, and you might have lots of these different sensors. But if you don't know where to put the sensor, then you can't obviously be proactive, you're reactive. And that's not what we want in this day and age.
Where can I see this? I want to see an example of this.
Yeah, no, absolutely. We're at our booth just around the corner, and we've got the maritime capability up at the moment, but we can obviously put the land one up as well. So yeah, you can come around and see. We'd be happy to give a demo.
And on that demo, you're showing, what's the example? Is it sea?
Yeah,
is it land?
It's at sea on the main demo, but we can pull the land one up as well. At sea at the moment, it's a really interesting space. The recent conflict, if people weren't aware before, the Strait of Hormuz, we're operating in Southeast Asia. We're in Singapore as well as London. It's a heavily contested space, and that strait, the Singapore Strait, Malacca Strait, has considerably more traffic coming through than the Strait of Hormuz does. But people want to know who's there. We've got a lot of underwater infrastructure that's also susceptible to potential nefarious actions that are unattributable to a state or an organization that doesn't want you to know. So again, if you can be forewarned, as the saying goes, you're forearmed, and essentially Quori is helping that problem set.
So you are part of the Oracle defense ecosystem, and this has been built to get innovation to warfighters quickly, efficiently. So how is this going to help Quori grow and reach more?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a fantastic opportunity, and we're thrilled. We've had a lot of support from Oracle in the last 18 months in particular. The analogy I use, it's like an older sibling. The older siblings forged the path previously. As a small company, as an SME, sometimes the doors are difficult to find. And when you do find the door, it's still quite difficult to pass through. So with Oracle's capability, especially we're seeing a lot of clients wanting sovereign solutions, and that exposure, that sort of breadth that Oracle brings, as well as the sort of back support that we receive from them. For us, there's a lot of benefits to being partnered and working within the ecosystem, and also a lot of other great companies within the ecosystem where we can all share ideas and bounce off each other and, ultimately successfully move business forward for all parties. So it's a team, and it's good to be part of this team.
Absolutely. And we're thrilled to have you as part of the team. Well, thank you so much for spending some time talking with us. Prediction of the risk.
Yeah.
That is critical
Yeah.
to the defense mission. So we
Yes.
appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us, and come back here after this word from our sponsor.
Our work working together with defense organizations is really showing that defense needs are constantly changing, constantly evolving. In a ever more uncertain and changing world, the need for sovereignty is becoming bigger and bigger, and sovereign solutions is more and more important. We also see from working with customers that sovereignty isn't one size fits all. Everyone has a sort of slightly different interpretation of what they need for sovereignty. And why the collaboration with Oracle is so important, and why we are really happy for the collaboration with Oracle. For us, it's very clear, as both Red Reply and Shield Reply, that Oracle has the completeness of vision and the full portfolio of products, whether that is a public cloud region, a sovereign or government region that's already deployed, the ability to bring out dedicated or isolated cloud regions, even in an air-gapped form as well. All of these different options give us the ability to adapt to customer-specific requirements. Like I said, sovereignty is not one size fits all, and we need solutions that are available today, mission-ready solutions that are available today. Oracle has them, and we're happy to continue working together.
All right, we are jumping right back in here at the Oracle Defense Tech Summit in Brussels, and I'm joined here by Oracle Senior Vice President of Sovereign Cloud, Rand Waldron. Hey, I have just an idea.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna try this out.
Yeah.
For your title.
Yeah.
I think the sovereign Rand Waldron.
I think there's only two sovereigns, maybe only one sovereign at Oracle, and I don't want to contest their rule.
All right, right, and probably won't fit into the HR policies
That's
either.
exactly right. Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
It's not in the drop down.
That's not that I've seen. I'll add it. So in your keynote today, you are talking about defending our values with the world's best technology.
Yeah.
How does that happen?
What all of us have to understand is, as a company, Oracle, as a collection of democratic states in the metaphorical West, the US, NATO, our allies, we have a collection of values that really unify us. And these are deeper than politics, deeper than particular elections. These are really a set of values. Those values do not defend themselves. Those values don't exist in the real world, but the threats to them do. And so what Oracle does is Oracle brings that technology capability to the individual humans who defend those values in the real world. The way we do it is actually simple. We take the capabilities that the most agile and innovative companies on the planet use to build their business. They use it to make greater returns for their shareholders, to scale the impact of their employees. We bring those same capabilities to these defense and intelligence organizations so they can defend our values. For us, it's taking that same technology and applying it to a new mission set.
Got it. And when we talk about these defense organizations, what are some of the biggest technology challenges that they're facing right now?
They face the same challenges that any organization around the world faces. And that really is a combination of doing more with less and the ability to scale rapidly against missions that are constantly changing. So every single defense or intelligence organization, every government, frankly, every enterprise out there has this need to address more challenges faster with the same or even fewer resources, fewer people, less capital, all of that. Oracle's technology gives you the ability to do that scaling faster. Nothing scales like technology does. Humans don't scale like technology does. Organizations don't scale like technology does. We bring that technology. but also the mission you had last year, 2 years ago, 3 years ago is not the same mission you have today. Those values are the same, but how we defend them, the threats against them are evolving constantly. And again, that's the same as in the commercial world. Their competitive threats aren't the same. The threats to our values aren't the same, but the technology underlayment gives you the ability to change how you're responding to that mission.
And picking up on that, a lot of organizations, business organizations, they do have to adapt to constantly changing conditions. But often, you have similar customers, you deal with similar issues, you have supply chain challenges, you have service issues. And those are, some of them, somewhat repeatable. Feels to me that missions in defense are not necessarily cookie cutter.
Yeah.
And so how do these organizations constantly prepare and absorb and react with urgency when they're a little bit untidy and messy?
I think the right answer to that question is you have to make sure that as an organization, you are agile. And I'll try not to use a buzzword. What you have to ensure as an organization is that you can see that new mission, you can see that new threat, and you can react to it very, very rapidly. There's 1,000 examples we can use from Ukraine or what's gone on in the Gulf, where the threats that we expected are not the threats that we encountered. And the organizations that can move quickly in response to that are the organizations that win. What our large defense organizations often find themselves in is a world where the threat itself is its own set of constraints, but their own organization, their own technology performs a constraint as well upon them. They want to be able to move quickly, but the technological capabilities they have underlying them do not give them the foundation to move quickly. What Oracle does is we give you that foundation. So you will have all of the agility, all of the capability. You will have this innovation pipeline coming with our cloud available to you so you can innovate as fast as the threat.
Yeah. So all of that part is taken care of that situation taken care of.
Yeah.
So you can really respond quickly without the technology getting in the way.
Exactly right.
So Oracle's announcing today the third cohort of the Oracle Defense ecosystem. Can you talk about what this cohort is and why we formed this ecosystem in the first place?
I'd love to take the camera around and show them everything going on here, because there are dozens of companies here. It is really, really cool. It is one of my favorite things that we do. What it is an ability to connect these small companies to the large mission customers that Oracle has throughout the government, defense, and intelligence space. Oracle can do many, many things. Like, I don't know of any company that has more products than Oracle does that satisfy the needs of these organizations, but we don't do everything. And there are many parts of the mission which we simply don't address directly, but these small companies do. And they innovate very rapidly. And that innovation challenge we were just talking about, if I provide that technological underlayment, these companies can provide the direct responses to those mission threats. And it's very cool to bring together a big company like Oracle, a big customer like these government customers, and these small innovators. It's a really great way. They work with each other, they work with the customers, and they work with us, and we build a better capability together.
That's great. Now, I'm going to ask you if there is one thing that you want defense leaders to understand about the role that Oracle can play in their critical missions. What is it?
The one thing I would say is that we are absolutely committed to this mission space, to our values, our joint values, and we are absolutely going to do whatever we can with you to bring the technology that lets you be faster than your threat. We'll bring the small companies that address those threats directly. We'll bring the technological underlayment. We will bring it all together with you so you can defend our values together.
That's great. And we're going to meet some of these hot companies on the show as well. So
absolutely.
Thank you so much for joining us. We'll be right back.
So many leaders are focused on how do they integrate AI into their everyday mission and business systems, and how do they do that securely? It's the question we get the most often. And it's a very simple answer. It's all about the data. all of our customers that are focused on how they can leverage the fast-moving pace of AI and those innovations and the value that it brings, it always starts with the data, ensuring that they have the data correctly secured, and they can implement AI then much closer to the data layer in order to give that assurance that they need, that they can actually have real value, real answers, as well as protect security integrity of that data. That's what it's all about. We also see our leaders looking at crawl, walk, run. We encourage them to take a measured way to implement AI technologies and make sure that it's always tied back to mission and business system value.
Welcome back to Oracle TV. I'm joined here right now by Joe Weil. He is the CEO of Unplugged. He was a former service leader at Apple and now is leading a privacy-first mobile company. Joe, thank you for joining me. Did I screw any of that up?
No, Fritz. Thank you for having me. You got it all right.
All right, good. Let's start with Unplugged. What problem did you set out to solve?
So, Fritz, we're solving a very unique problem at Unplugged that is also actually very pervasive, which is our government, intelligence, and defense agencies are staffed with people who carry smartphones. And those smartphones, believe it or not, are constantly streaming out advertising information that our adversaries can watch. And with that information, they can determine who's meeting who's stationed where, perhaps movements are happening that are revealing, and even in some cases recently, where particular personnel are stationed on particular parts of forward operating bases for targeting purposes.
Wow. So from a national security perspective, that creates a lot of problems, I imagine.
It does. There's a huge imbalance between the posture we take with smartphone data and our principal adversaries. So while their internets are closed off behind firewalls, ours are actually subsidized by advertising, and all that data is harvestable, purchasable by our adversaries. So that means who's meeting with who's where, who's in what part of the base is available to our adversaries, but we can't see any of that data from their groups. It's a big imbalance.
And it sounds like also the problem may be getting worse because we've had these for a long time. So what's changed about this from a national security standpoint?
So the several elements have changed to make this worse over time. The first is that the application environment, the economy through apps has grown so big that the financial incentive to get the data is much higher than it ever was. The result of that is things like privacy permissions or VPNs. Apps sort of get around that, and there's ways for them to do what's called first-party tracking to figure out where you are at the device level and then transmit that back. So first problem is there's just deeper tracking happening through all apps. The second issue is compute is much more available now through AI, so it's much faster to analyze all this data and figure out meaning from it. And then lastly, the amount of screen time in applications has also just ballooned. The average person's on a phone for 6, 7, 8 hours a day. So this has just significantly increased the amount of data that there is for adversaries to get at.
So let's talk about what Unplugged does. Is it like just a mobile Faraday cage?
Yeah, you could call it that, actually. We actually created a unique technology. We perceive that the application itself is the battleground today. And we made a unique technology called the DMZ that goes through the application, every application on the phone. So we build the phone, the operating system, and we manage every app at runtime. So what that means is our end users are running all the apps they're used to using to communicate with their family, do their banking, whatever else, social media. But the apps are not able to transmit information that can be used to determine where they are or who they're with. So it's a unique way to solve the problem. We have to deliver normal consumer usability, but we need to bring this much higher security level to the product.
You're part of this entire defense technology ecosystem. What does working alongside a company like Oracle help make possible for Unplugged?
Well, there's a number of benefits for us that really stand out. The first is, in addition to Oracle, there's other companies in the cohort that also supply really important parts of the stack that fit really well for us. So for us, it's really powerful to be part of a broader ecosystem that comes together to really supply customers with a comprehensive solution to these issues. I would also say the really perfect part of the Oracle piece is that Oracle's the largest supplier of secure cloud to sensitive organizations, and we are able to provide the members of those organizations with a secure endpoint for the secure network that they're on.
Great. So what's next for Unplugged?
Yeah, a lot is happening right now. So we're working with governments and defense organizations to bring new standards to how they deploy mobile devices to their forces. So we're really in the process of working with governments and militaries and intelligence agencies to define new standards. And our objective is to work with them to create new ways to measure the digital footprint so that we leave this imbalance we've had in which our adversaries can see our digital footprint better than we can. So the goal that we're really helping people develop right now and bring into focus is to flip the script completely so that the digital footprint becomes something we can not only see, but manage and control at scale.
What are some of those conversations like? I mean, I think you always think about, especially in battlefield situations or just in the field situations, people having, specialized technology, but you're making it possible for them to have normal technology, but with some specialized controls around it.
Correct. Yeah. The issue really comes to light when you look at hotspots, whether it's Eastern Europe or the Middle East. One of the phenomena that occurs is you'll have units that are outfitted with these very specialized devices that require unique, 50-digit codes to access, and they can only talk to other units. It's very like bat phones. And the problem is when things get hot, those get left behind and out comes the iPhone, and suddenly people are calling in airstrikes on WhatsApp, which happens constantly. The problem is this notion of two phones, the secure phone and the personal phone, it violates the whole OPSEC need because you're carrying around a targeting beacon. So solving this problem and creating a single platform that addresses both needs is the key. I would also add, though, it's not only in these hotspots where it matters, because one of the things we've seen going back for decades now is we've been able to map the movement of forces at home. So it's not only where they are in forward operating bases, but which units are training with which units in the States. This is something we want to bring ambiguity back to as well.
Joe, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks, Fritz.
All right. And we will be right back after this quick word from our sponsor.
Sovereignty is really important. Sopra area. We need to understand what sovereignty means because it's become a bit of a buzzword. Does it mean technical sovereignty, data sovereignty, country sovereignty because of regulations? We have to understand it because we have to make sure that our products can comply with sovereignty. So either we have to adapt the products to do that, or in some cases we need to make sure that our workforce are in country so that they can make sure that the products are sovereignty compatible. In terms of the relationship with Oracle, we've been partners now for over 30 years, and it's equally important when we host our products on a platform that we know that that platform's also going to be sovereignty capable, and we know we're going to get that with Oracle.
I'm joined now by Rodam Abeles. He is the co-founder and chief product officer of Airis Labs and part of the Oracle Defense ecosystem. So welcome and thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Let's start with just a little bit of a high level. What does Airis Labs do?
Sure. So Airis Labs was built on the premise that the world is moving from text to video, but the current intelligence tools do not. So the idea is that we come to this problem first. If an analyst wants to know where a video was taken, they don't really care about what AI model is used to answer that. That can be pixel-based geolocation, that can be OCR, reading the signs, that can be just listening to someone saying where he's at, right? So Airis is doing all of that and provides this holistic intelligence piece by turning that raw video into structured intelligence.
And if we take that a step further, can you give us a sense in the sort of defense space, what are we able to collect and see because of that?
So I'll give you an example. Let's say that there's a mission and the warfighters, they want to send a recon team to get this understanding of the environment. Now, that's a risky move, right? So instead of that, what if they would just look at all the available footage that people already taken of that area, right? And then because it's now transferred into machine readable intelligence, they can throw that into an AI agent and produce the reports in minutes in what could have taken them days to do manually.
Got it. So all of this video data is coming from existing things. You guys call it user-generated field intelligence.
Yes.
So these are things that people are just doing in their daily going around, not a lot of hidden cameras everywhere, but just the ones we already use?
Yeah, so in addition to security cameras and drone footage, now everyone has a pretty good camera on their smartphone.
Right.
Right. And when people see something interesting, they will take a picture or a video of that. And this can be another form of digital ISR that can feed into the intelligence workflows.
And what about the speed of being able to analyze that? How is AI speeding that up as well?
I think that AI is a necessity in this case because there's too much video, and the signal to noise ratio is lower than used to. So the AI doesn't get tired, it doesn't get bored. It just goes through all of that data and extracts the interesting intelligence in what would be very labor intensive and time consuming for analysts to do.
And is this being used?
This is being used.
Got it. All right. So that's very exciting. Can you talk about being part of the Oracle Defense ecosystem and how that is helping Airis Labs?
Sure. So we got accepted into cohort number 2, end of last year. And we've been working with Oracle since on especially security and interoperability of sovereign cloud. Our customers are in defense and intelligence. They really care about security. The deployments go from unclassified all the way to secret and top secret. So working with Oracle on addressing those issues in the best way possible is huge for our customers.
Okay. And it goes beyond sovereignty. It also talk about the scale that it brings.
Yes. So we're talking about large volumes of video that needs large compute power to handle, right? Because everything needs to be timely, right? Not just accurate, but also relevant in the right time. And this is like an ongoing thing because every day there's like new videos that are being generated that needs processing.
Well, this is really exciting. I can't wait do you have a demo that we can see as well? Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to go check it out later.
Please do.
All right. Rodam, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
All right. We'll be right back.
Nearly half a century ago, Oracle transformed how the world managed data. More than a decade ago, we reimagined how business works in the cloud. And now, as AI reshapes how we operate, compete, and innovate, Oracle is once again leading the way. That data, it's now your AI fuel. That cloud, it now trains and runs the world's most powerful AI models. And those models, they power the Gen AI built into your business processes and the AI agents that automate it all. Oracle brings AI to every corner of your business so you can imagine beyond the boundaries of what's possible. Whether it's leveraging AI to increase productivity, make decisions faster, and save money, using AI-powered forecasting to secure and maintain a power grid for millions of customers, training AI models to make the world's most powerful particle accelerator run faster and more efficiently, or harnessing AI vector search to tackle antibiotic resistance. We help you stay ahead because Oracle was built for the era of AI, so we can build the future of AI for you.
Well, what a day this has been. It has gone so fast, Fritz. We've had so many conversations, incredible conversations with our own Oracle leaders, but also with companies like Defense Holdings and Quori and the work they're leading, the innovative work they're leading across the defense ecosystem. I mean, I know you had some amazing conversations as well.
Yeah, it's interesting how many different niches each of these companies build. I talked to Airis Labs, I talked to Unplugged, they're solving very specific problems, and all just seems to be about, can we go faster and faster and faster and more and more and more, but please keep the trust, sovereign, secure, control, all of that wrapped around it. It's amazing what we're seeing here.
It is. It's speed, control, but I really think it's important that all of these voices are at the table having this conversation. And a common theme that we have heard, throughout the day, and you can see it at this event, is that we all have to come together. It's NATO, it's Oracle, it is the vast, defense ecosystem that's coming together to solve these problems. And I want to point out the Oracle Defense Ecosystem members, this cohort. Can you tell us more about this group?
Yeah, we launched the Oracle Defense Ecosystem last year at this event in Austin, Texas. And at this event, we're announcing our third cohort. So there's a second one in there somewhere during the year. But the ecosystem keeps growing. And the idea, and we heard it here from some of the guests, is, nobody can do it alone. We are all in this together, and every company that comes together brings something different to the table, and it's spectacular to see.
Wow. I'm actually going to go back and watch some of our conversations because I learned so much. And again, like you said, all these special little pieces in there that they're focused on. Well, thank you so much for watching Oracle TV.
Yes, and we hope to see you again soon.